Hey everyone, did your shift linkage come off the little ball stud on your GM vehicle? Well, if it did, you need to get in there and get access to it any way you can. You need to remove your air box tube, and then I'm going to remove the shift bracket bolts. It'll be 1, 2, and then I'm going to remove the shift lever that goes onto the trans. It should be a 15 and another 2. Those are 13s, and then I'll bring the whole cable up here so I can get easy access to it, and also access to the shift linkage. So that's what we're gonna do. There's my shift linkage. Gotta remove this piece off of there and clean up the little ball stud a little bit. Don't go too crazy on it. And then we gotta remove that rest of this piece inside of there. Okay, get a screwdriver in there and pull it out. Okay, there's that one. Cleaned up a little bit with the wire wheel. Got all the pieces inside there out. Okay, there's the shift cable kit from Dorman. Here we are on the bottom row. They're saying use a C-clamp with a socket. They're saying using a 9/16 socket. That would go onto the black part of your cable to allow the ball of it to go sit inside there. And on the other end, it'll be this, it'll be pushed into the black part of the cable using a C-clamp. If you don't have a C-clamp, you can use a pair of channel locks. C-clamp works because it's nice and even. I'll have to double check to see if I got a small C-clamp. Otherwise, I'm going to use my channel locks. So I'll put a little bit of Glide dielectric grease on your bushing and do the same thing inside your shift cable end in here. And I help allow that bushing to push in there. I tried to use a C-clamp. It was almost impossible to get it all lined up with one hand and screw the other end with the other. But, so I got my channel locks and I pressed it in. And if you notice that this bushing goes inside here below the edge. As I was pushing this in, I was using the pliers like that on there and worked it around that edge and got it past it. Started out like this, and then I got it and went inside, pushed it past that little lip. Okay, I got past that little lip. Yep. Okay, now I'll put some grease in here. Some Glide dielectric grease, and then I'll push my bushing, my shift linkage on there. I just squeezed it on there, went right on there. Not coming off. Okay. Now, hopefully it took this apart and was all in park. The lever's in park, the shifter's in park, everything will line up. Okay? And don't forget, on that shaft, it's rectangular, it's not round, okay? So make sure it's seated in there before you go and tighten your nut up. Okay, so get all your shift bracket bolts started, and get this started. Tighten your shift bracket bolts, and then make sure that this is inside the little notches on that round shaft. Okay, before you tighten this nut. Tighten this nut up. You might want to hold this arm when you're doing your final tightening on this, because you don't want to pop it off, pushing all the tension against your new bushing when you tighten it up. Alright, give it a shot. What I found out what worked the best for me was I put the shifter linkage onto the trans first, wiggle it around after I put my nut on. As I'm tightening my nut, I keep wiggling it around. And then I got it snugged up. And I stuck a pry bar down there and I wedged it between the lever and the side of the trans case. And then I tightened up my nut on my shift linkage. Yep, that worked pretty good. And then I put my shifter cable bracket, my 2 bolts on the side of the trans, and tighten them up. So that's all good now. Now I'm gonna put my air intake tube on and I'll be done. And you'll be done.